And with that in mind, since there are no games to be talking about and games to be played, one of the things we want to do throughout the course of the coming weeks is to talk with former Longhorns and get an update, what are they up to these days, what are they doing, and with that in mind, let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline and talk with the former Longhorn, the lifetime Longhorn, Tony Hills, who won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh, played a long time in the National Football League. Tony, how are you doing?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
It's always good to talk to you, my friend.
Appreciate you being there. Hey, how are you these days? Tell our audience, tell folks and Longhorn fans where you living these days. What are you up to?
Oh, no problem. I'm out here in the Dallas area, man. Out here, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Midlothian, Texas.
I have. I used to recruit that area.
Oh, okay. Well, good deal. Well, listen, we love it out here, man. The family's doing well. I think just like most of everybody, we're just trying to make sure that we're, following the guidelines and staying safe amongst all these crazy times that we're dealing with right now. First and foremost, before I even start talking about me, man, I just want to send some prayers up and to all the people that have been affected by this thing. I actually know some people personally that have been affected, and, I know this is some dark times right now, but, it's times like this that, people set aside their differences and start to band together. So I think that if we're, just all trying to do the best that we can as it pertains to staying indoors and, quarantining ourselves, Lord's will, this thing will pass by, man, and we can get back to business as usual.
No question about it. Tony Hills is with us up in Midlothian, Texas, outside the Metroplex. And, Tony, your career in the NFL was interesting. That you were drafted by the Steelers and won a Super Bowl there. And then, journeyman's a word you would use, but you find new work and you work with Denver and then Indianapolis, Buffalo, Oakland, Miami, the Cowboys for a spell, Carolina, Baltimore, New Orleans, and then Detroit finally. Talk about that. It's that time of year right now in free agency where guys are signing and moving on and finding new teams. What's that like as a professional when you're drafted and you start your career on a high, and then it's really about just maintaining and finding a new place to play and keep the career going?
Yeah, I know for me, man, I just always kept my suitcase packed. So I appreciate you running down the list, man. It brings back memories. I call it a free travel trip, man. You're going to pay for my stay in and allow me to do what I love. So, hey, it works for me. But, no, man, at the end of the day, it's all about what you want, right? My vision and my goal was not to just get to the NFL, but to stay in the NFL for a long time. And, whatever that route looked like, I was going to take it. Some guys come in and they, like my man Ramon Foster, shout out to Ramon. He came in as an undrafted free agent when I was in Pittsburgh the year after me, had an 11-year career in one place. That's ideal, right? But what we have to decide, man, is when we're going through the ups and downs in the political aspect of the business is, do we allow other people's decisions to determine our outcome? And I was just never one that believed that anybody had the authority to tell me what I could or could not do. So I told a friend of mine, actually, no, it was my wife. I was talking to my wife about this probably about a month ago, and she was talking about all the different places we've been. Well, I said, hey, if I'd have had to, I'd have went to all 32 teams. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd have had a great network and made a lot of great friends. So that was just my mindset, man. I had a target and a goal. So I say to anybody that's a free agent that might be on the move right now, man, what's your vision? Is the vision to make it and to maintain? Okay, well then do the things that that you need to do that. Is the vision to dominate? All right, well let's do the things that we need to do that. I think that in the world of social media right now, there's a lot of distractions. So in order for you to be great at anything or to master anything, you have to starve those distractions. And so I would just tell the free agents, man, hey, continue to work out, grind as though you don't have it, even if you do. And if you don't, then, hey, you already have that chip on your shoulder, man. But, stay positive. Nothing ever comes good out of having negative thoughts and work like you want it.
I love that thought of grind it like you don't have it. You know what I mean? Just keep on grinding. Tony, when you won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and obviously you got a whole suitcase full of different rings. I coached for 20-some years of football, and I've got that little case with all my different rings in it. That Super Bowl ring, even to this day, when you walk by, does it kind of catch your eye? I mean, more so than any ring. Is there certain rings in your repertoire that you look at and then you smile every time you go by it?
Man, yes, man, because so just like in business, right? I have a business that I run now. Just like in business, you enter into things to be the best. I know some people say, I don't compete, and that's great, to each his own. But I always compete. Now I compete with myself, so that's that thing. But that particular ring was a testament to perseverance, because coming out of college, I ended up breaking my ankle. And so now to have to go through that process and to see the names drafted and, to be told by a team, hey, don't worry about it, sit back and relax on draft day, this is where you come in, and that doesn't happen, and you have to go through all the ups and downs. To be able to be a part of something special like that, man, when I leave this earth, right, everything is about, as a man, everything is about wanting to create a legacy. So that is part of my legacy. That can never be taken from me. My name will forever be on Super Bowl 43 as one of the participants and the winners of that event. And I think that when you look at that, it kind of gives you a boost of confidence to maneuver through life, right? If you know that you've been able to do something that most people have not been able to do, and no shot, but just to I guess, expand the reality of what that ring does, man. Like, Dan Marino is a Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Famer, one of the greats, one of the greatest of all times. He was not able to capture that for whatever reason. So that should just go to show you that, like, how hard it is to get to that level and to win. You look at any of the participants on the Buffalo Bills, man, they were in that thing 5 times and fell short. So I think for me, it's an honor. It's a privilege. And I'm so appreciative of the fact that I was in the right place at the right time, because that's ultimately what it's all about, just being on the right place at the right time and having the right momentum. And we caught that train during that season, and, we were able to capture that, man. The next thing, though, if I'm being honest, man, it has to be the Rose Bowl ring, not even the national championship, but the one we won against Michigan. Coming out of that process, that was another situation I came out of, right? Coming out of high school, not knowing if I would ever play again, and then to be able to win such a prestigious award and ring like that in the manner and the fashion that we did against a really good Michigan team. And I think that from that game, that kind of catapulted us into the next year going into the national championship. But those 2 rings, the Michigan ring, the Michigan game ring, and the Super Bowl, those are the ones when I look at, I'm like, yeah, come on, man. Whatever we're going through, we can get through it.
Yeah.
Well, and the one where I was going to ask you about that, Tony. Tony Hills is with us, a lifetime Longhorn, a national champion with the Longhorns and 2-time Rose Bowl winner. But, the word perseverance comes to mind when I think of you and your career and, what we just talked about through the NFL, and you would have played for all 32 teams if that's what it took. But, when you came to Texas, you had to redshirt in 2003 because you had knee surgery, but it was, as you said, a career-threatening injury that it could have cost you your career, nerve damage, and who knew if you're going to come back and move from tight end to offensive tackle, if people remember, and so you had to learn a new position while you were recovering from that surgery. But then to go on and have the career you had, speaks to what you just said. Win the Rose Bowl, part of that team in 2004, national champions in 2005, started 13 games as a junior. And then, as you said, you got hurt right before you went to your NFL career. Kind of the same thing coming out of high school. So twice you had to deal with an injury when you were transcending from high school to college and then college into the pros. Where does that come from for you, that ability to persevere, keep grinding, and keep doing the things to move forward?
That was instilled in me by my mother, man. Here's a lady that, if we're being honest, raised 2, black young men in a very hard neighborhood, for lack of a better word. And the only way that she was going to be able to do that is for her to show that grit and that tenacity and that passion to be able to catapult us beyond our circumstances. I think the thing for a lot of young black men that have grown up with their mothers only is that, these women, man, that are taking on this responsibility. Kudos to all the single moms. That's a hard thing to do. Me being a parent, a father of 3, I know how hard it is just to, make sure that my house is in order. And my wife does a wonderful job. Shout out to my wife, Brittany Hills. She does a wonderful job of holding the house down. And we're 2 people, and we're tired by the end of, 6 or 7 o'clock and still having to push through. I can only imagine what my mom must have went through. And if you guys know my little brother, Jeremy Hills, I'm going to promise you this. This dude is not who he is. He wasn't what he is today back then. He was a handful. All right. And so with that being said, I just watched how she handled everything. Very strong in her faith, very strong in her belief, and ultimately her conviction could not be shaken. It didn't matter what was going behind her or going on beyond her or around her or anything. She was always locked in the moment. And when I think about everything that I went through, right, coming out of high school, experienced what I had was called perennial nerve damage. I had what was diagnosed as drop foot. That means that the nerve in your foot is not firing. That gives you that dorsiflexion motion, right? And to sit there and to hear somebody say that you're not going to be able to do something, I couldn't accept that. I knew that if the Lord put me in that position, then the Lord was going to be the one to bring me out. And I knew that I had a skill set that I could utilize that could potentially change my family's life. And I just seen that as an obstacle to overcome. So, man, that's where this comes from when I tell people to grind like you don't have it, because that's what I did. I mean, I remember putting on the cast on my leg and running up a treadmill. My Uncle Santana gave me, Santana Dotson, gave me a workout. And as I'm running up this treadmill, I can feel that cast cutting into my feet. And so if you can imagine all the skin being ripped off the side of your foot. And this is at 18. I'm going, I put gauze on it, Vaseline on it, and I go back the next day. And it bleeds out, and I go back the next day, and I'm crying, and I'm hurting, and you having those why me moments, and you're in those dark days. But at the end of the day, you have to decide, and that's what I learned very early at an early age. I think that's what pushed me. As much as everybody wanted it for me, you have to want it for yourself. And I wanted it bad enough. And lo and behold, I had a second surgery. I got the feeling back, and then the rest is history. You go to UT, you move positions, right? And that's just another thing. Being able to handle transition. I've never played offensive line. Didn't know anything about it. I was a tight end by trade. I was a basketball player before football. So, I had to learn something new. Well, how bad do you want it? I want to play. Okay, well, let's switch positions and y'all teach me, and I'll do the best that I can with it. And it's funny to see how that translates, right? Because when I got to the NFL, I went from, we need you to play left tackle. Great. Been doing that for 4 years. Okay, now we need you to play right tackle. I know nothing about it, but hey, great. I'll contribute. All right, now go to guard. Oh, okay, well, fine. I'll learn that. Okay, now go to the other guard. All right, well, whatever. All right, now go to center. So now all of a sudden, by me being able to look at the positives of adapting to transition and being able to play all across the line and play all across the line well, that made me valuable. And I believe that was one of the things that kept me in the league, right? It's hard to not bring in somebody that wherever you plug and play him, he's going to pick up the system fast and he's going to play well. And that was what I was able to bring to teams whenever they brought me in.
Great insights,
Wow.
Tony. We appreciate that. There's a lot you can pick through there, whatever your situation and our current situation where lives are turned upside down. Find the positive in it. Continue the grind, and we'll all get there together. Tony Hills, lifetime Longhorn, with some great thoughts there. Let me ask you, how is Jeremy, your brother? I know Longhorn fans remember him coming in and playing running back. Is he doing okay?
Man, he's doing well, man. J Hills 5, man. If you guys aren't following him on Instagram, you'll get to see all the updates, man. He is a global phenomenon in the training industry. He's found his niche, and it was so funny, man, because when you're going through life and you think that you have it all figured out and you have a vision, it's so funny how something can change in the blink of an eye, and now you have to reinvent yourself. Now, he's the man. Go ahead.
Hey, Tony, I just wanted to say to you, before we do have to go, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for mentioning your wife, because not often, we mention our mothers, but the lady who's actually taking care of our kids right now, who has to do the things while you pick up and move, and I'll see you later, I'll meet you at this next destination. Thank you for mentioning your wife and how important she is to not only you, but your kids too.
Oh man, she is everything, dude. I mean, I've been with this woman since college. she's been with me almost 50%, a little less than 50% of my life, and you know, she's an amazing woman, and not just because I'm married to her, just because that's who she is. I mean, you're talking about somebody that has a thirst and a drive and a zeal for knowledge and to teach, and she got a master's when she was 7 months pregnant with our third son. So when you're talking about tenacity and grit, she shows that too. She's a quiet storm, man, and I could not do all the things that I do without her. We have our own financial literacy and credit restoration company, S.T.A.T.T Financial Services, that we run and operate, and she is the backbone of that. Right? It's so many things that I want to do, and I have so many visions to help people, but none of this could be done without her. So, man, I'm just so appreciative that I have her in my life, man, and it's been a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what the Lord has in store for us as we continue to grow.
Hey, Tony, thanks a lot.
Thank you so
can
much.
Keep going and going, and we'll ring you up again here shortly as we're going to have some time without games and continue to talk. So we appreciate that very much, and we great to hear you're doing well, and thanks for the message this morning.
Thank you, Tony.
Oh, all right. Thank you, guys. You have a good one.